And now it's my honor and my joy to welcome Dr. Vimalasara Mason-John here to our gathering today. They have been hailed by Dr. Ken Hardy as one of the premier social, cultural, and psychological healers of our time. An award-winning author of 11 books, including Detox Your Heart, Meditations for Emotional Trauma, and Eight-step recovery using the Buddha's teachings to overcome addiction. They are co-founder of the secular 8-week course Mindfulness-Based Addiction Recovery, MBAR, and one of the new leading African descent voices in the field of mindfulness approaches for addiction. We're very, very welcome. Glad to have you here today, Vimalasara, and I turn it over to you for the next while here to welcome us and share with us about Buddhism from and the Mahayana New Year. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I think in the spirit of Buddhism, I would say happy new moment because every moment is a new year. And it was quite interesting to be asked about the Mahayana New Year because I suppose that, you know, Buddhism is in many countries. So, if we go to China or Japan or whatever, there's Chinese New Year, but actually having a particular date for the Mahayana New Year, I suppose it would be Wesak, May time, the birth of the Buddha, the enlightenment of the Buddha. But I just really want to talk about the Mahayana tradition. And then I thought actually just listening today and just I still haven't, I feel very proud of myself. I still haven't looked at the news. So, but I know that, I mean, I'm aware of some of the stuff that's been happening in Venezuela, and I will tell a story from the Mahayana text. But I just really wanted to say that we have the Hinayana, which is the first vehicle of the movement, and then we have the Mahayana, which is the newer vehicle. And the Mahayana, really, its ultimate goal is liberation for all. And the vow, or the vow is the Bodhisattva vow, the vow of compassion and wisdom. And it's a bodhisattva is somebody who doesn't take full enlightenment until all beings have been freed from suffering. And I'm going to tell the story of Avalokiteshvara. I mentioned Kuan Yin, so Avalokiteshvara is in male form. As if you go to China, Avalokiteshvara is in female form, Kuan Yin, and then you might hear Shen Rigs. There are different names. In fact, in some communities, people call this bodhisattva the trans bodhisattva because the gender changes. But it's said that Avalokiteshvara went to the land of Tibet. And when they went to the land of Tibet, they were so overwhelmed by the suffering of the people in Tibet. They were just so overwhelmed. What could they do about this plight? And so they made a vow to their teacher, Amitabha, the red Buddha, the Buddha of meditation. And they made the vow to Amitabha that they would not move from this spot, from the meditation spot, until all the people of Tibet had been freed of suffering. And so they made this vow and they went into deep samadhi, into deep meditation. And after a couple of weeks or so, the Avalokiteshvara began to get anxious, a bit distracted. Ego kicked in, ego kicked in. And when this ego kicked in, Avalokiteshvara opens their eyes and looks across the land of Tibet and is shocked because not even a fraction of their practice had any effect or impact on the people of Tibet. And in that moment, he wavered, he forgot the vow, and exploded into a million pieces. And in that moment, called out for Amitabha. And Amitabha took pity on Avalokiteshvara. It's said if you make a vow, you don't break the vow, but rather than, giving Avalokiteshvara a hard time, Amitabha puts Avalokiteshvara back together again with 1,000 arms and 11 heads, so that Avalokiteshvara could be all seeing. And in the 1,000 arms, in each hand, there was an implement to help with the suffering. And so, with this new body, Avalokiteshvara goes back into samadhi, but just before they tip into samadhi, Avalokiteshvara has this awareness. How could they think that alone that they would be able to deal with the suffering of the people in Tibet? How could they have had such a thought? And in that moment, a tear falls from Avalokiteshvara's eye, and a lake is formed, and green Tara is born. And it's said with green Tara and Avalokiteshvara with the 1,000 arms and, with the 11 heads, went about in the world of really helping the people, not just the people of Tibet, but trying to relieve all beings of suffering. And one of the mantras is Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu. Ah, 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 mm, mm, ah, 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 Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from the roots and the causes of suffering. There is a famous teaching which connects all the Buddhist traditions, the Heart Sutra, and the opening of the Heart Sutra is said that the Bodhisattva of compassion, when they meditated deeply, saw the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and sundered the bonds that cause them suffering. And the emptiness of the 5 skandhas is the emptiness of this body. And it's not to say that this body is empty, because this body is full, but the emptiness of the labeling of this body, the emptiness of the labeling. It's said that when the prince woke up and became a Buddha, which Buddha means awake, became awake, it's said that the prince said something like this, that these labels that identify me as a human as a man, as a god, as a deva have been destroyed by me. So this is what we mean by the emptiness of the body, which is one of the skandhas, or sometimes they're called heaps or aggregates. And then it talks about the emptiness of feelings. So of course we have feelings. Feelings are really full, but do we make meaning out of these feelings? It's that, in a way, that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And in a way, it's like, of course, we can have this feeling of sadness, which arises in the body, hedonic tone. However, it's like when we say it shouldn't be happening, we go into the suffering because it is happening. And if we can stay with it is happening, what can we do? But when we go into it shouldn't be happening, we've moved into the suffering because it is actually happening. And so how can we begin to see the emptiness of thoughts? Yeah. The emptiness of perceptions, because it's often said that we are meaning making machines and that we are always making meaning out of everything. But what would life be if we never had a perception, if we never had an interpretation? And this is what we mean by the emptiness of the skandhas. It's not that nothing exists, it's not nihilistic. And then the emptiness of consciousness, the way of seeing. It's like we we see a tree and we begin to fill it with, oh, look how beautiful it is. Oh, it's this, and we give it a name. But where did these names come from? It's all of realizing that often we live in this big story. And so what I wanted to do is, as I said, the Heart Sutra is a very beautiful teaching, and I'm going to read you two versions, which was created by AI. Okay, and the first version is in the words of Martin Luther King. Okay, and I think it very much speaks to today and what's happening in this moment. Beloved community, fellow pilgrims on the path towards justice, today I am compelled to speak of a vision, not a vision of worldly power, but of the most profound wisdom, the wisdom that has gone beyond all fear, all separation, all illusion. It is a dream of ultimate liberation. I have a dream today of a truth so deep it shatters every chain. It's the truth known to the awakened heart, the bodhisattva who, clothed in compassion, moves through this world of sorrow, yet dwells in the wisdom of boundless. And in this wisdom, I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of reality, the children of former slaves and the children of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of emptiness and see that form itself is emptiness and emptiness is form. This body that marches, these hands that build the brutal walls of segregation and the glorious arch of freedom, they are not the final reality. They are waves upon a vast and shoreless ocean of divine possibility. And so it is with our feelings, our perceptions, our thoughts, and our very consciousness. They are the content of the dream, but they are not the dreamer. I have a dream that all children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character, and that they will know this truth, that in the beloved community of ultimate reality, There is no eye that creates separation, no ear that hears a slur. There is no nose to smell hatred, no tongue to taste bitterness. There is no body to be violated, and no mind that can be permanently imprisoned. Yes, I have a dream that will confront the mountain of suffering and proclaim, there is no ignorance to eternally bind us. There is no end to ignorance to lull us into pride. There is no aging and death that can touch the eternal spirit within, and no end to aging and death to cling to. I have a dream that we will see there is no suffering that defines us, no cause of suffering that can be transformed, no path we must walk alone, and no trophy of wisdom to win. For in the bright day of awakening, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that there is nothing to be attained. It is because the servant of humanity rests in this wisdom, this dream of no attainment, that the heart is finally free. With the barriers of fear and separation gone, we can face the dogs and the fire hoses with unshakable courage. We can dwell in the world, yet be not of it. All the saints and sages from every time and tradition have anchored themselves in the same profound dream, and in doing so, they have realized the highest truth, the unshakable perfect enlightenment. So let us proclaim the truth, this mantra for the marcher, the hymn of the hope-filled. Let it ring from Stone Mountain to Selma, from the Lincoln Memorial to the streets of Birmingham. Gone, gone beyond, gone altogether, beyond. What an awakening. So it is. Amen. And let freedom ring. For this, my siblings, is the very heart of the dream. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this wisdom, we will be free at last. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. In Buddhism, we talk about the three poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion, which separates us. And Martin Luther King called the three poisons militarism, poverty, and racism. And we can see them being acted out in the world. So I end there. I was going to do the other version, but I'm just aware of time. But just, yeah, um, I'll end there. So thank you for inviting me, and just remembering that the Mahayana tradition is the Bodhisattva vow of not taking full enlightenment until all beings are freed from the roots and the causes of suffering. Amen.